A very good evening, everyone. I am Dr. S. Mahathir'S. Today, I will be presenting a research on analyzing the relevancy of Mahathir's leadership communication qualities to Hindu philosophy within the spiritual leadership framework. As we all know, communication theories in large is focusing on Western context. They treated the society as homogeneous and neglected the heterogeneous culture of the society. And leadership communication literatures theories has clearly indicated that not all the assumptions of leadership is applicable across the globe, across culture. And different leadership style, different leadership assumptions has resulted in different leadership outcome or results in different culture and different contexts. Therefore, literatures has clearly also indicated there's a lack of research. There is theoretical gap in terms of leadership context, contextual gap in the leadership literatures has clearly showed that there is a need of investigation to be carried out in the context of multicultural context, in the context of multiculture. Therefore, this study research on spiritual leadership in multicultural setting, and therefore, under the paradigm of spiritual leadership, this study aims to add new dimension to the leadership communication from multicultural context or setting, notably leadership communication, including Muslims and Hindu, or specifically majority and minority groups. All right. And in Malaysia context, we understand that Malaysia Hindus as the minority community, one of the minorities in Malaysia, has somehow showed advancement in various fields, in various areas under the leadership of Mahathir Mohamad. However, Mahathir Mohamad has been criticized. Studies have shown that he was blamed and he has been criticized to be blamed for the marginalization of Malaysian Hindus in Malaysia. So this is the conflict that we are having right now. One sources shows that Mahathir has contributed to the development, social changes among the Malaysian Hindus. On the other side, studies have shown that Mahathir has contributed to the marginalization of Malaysian Hindus. Therefore, this study in what I would like to investigate Mahathir's spiritual leadership attributes from the viewpoint of Mahathir, from Malaysian Hindu thought leaders as the minority group using spiritual leadership paradigm. One of the main reason why I am using spiritual leadership is that Fry, who is the pioneer of spiritual leadership, has clearly indicated that spiritual leaders able to inspire people, the followers, towards significance vision, that include ideals that uplift, value, foster a feeling of community among their followers. And this ideology uses vision, optimism, and selfless love to inspire followers to make changes that are thought to be necessary in the current environment. Okay, and Fry also has indicated a few elements of spiritual leadership, which is calling, membership, vision, hope, and altruistic love that are very essential for inspiring and encouraging people to make social changes. So in this context, this study assumes Mahathir's role as a spiritual leader who able to make social changes among the Malaysian Hindus significantly. So with the idea of Fry's idea, keeping that in mind, this study has raised two main research questions. Number one, what are the attributes of Mahathir's leadership communication that are based on the opinion leaders of Malaysian Hindus? Number two, how do opinion leaders among Malaysian Hindus view Mahathir's vision for the leadership within the context of spiritual leadership? And talking about literature review, this studies has shown that clearly shown that Fry 2003 has somehow contributed a lot in providing understanding, in enhancing understanding about spiritual leadership. And in this study, I'm using spiritual leadership theory or spiritual leadership as the paradigm to understand the leadership communication process between Mahathir, who is a Muslim leader, and how he communicate to Hindus, Malaysian Hindus, who is actually a minority community in Malaysia. All right, and to further understand Malaysian Hindus' perspective, I am using Bhagavad Gita as the to understand to what extent culture, Hindus, Indian Hindu philosophy has somehow affect the way Malaysian Hindu perceive Mahathir's leadership. All right, in this study, I'm using qualitative method, specifically phenomenology approach was used, specifically in-depth interview was used, and my sampling was selected based on purposive sampling. I have used 23 informants in this study, which is consistent with the recommendation from qualitative researcher. And in terms of the sampling criteria, my informants must be Malaysian Hindus. They are Malaysian Hindus. They have gone through the leadership under Mahathir's leadership, specifically focusing from 1981 until 2003. The reason is that I'm focusing on Mahathir because that is the time that Indians saw a lot of transformation, social changes, a lot of social changes happens during Mahathir's period as the fourth Prime Minister of Malaysia. And my informants are representing different organizations. They are including public, private institution, media, non-governmental organizations, and even from Malaysian Hindu organizations. I conducted in-depth interview, specifically semi-structured in-depth interview was used, and the data was analyzed using thematic analysis. Specifically, I used NVivo, which is inductive in nature. I use NVivo thematic analysis to generate, to develop the teams. Okay, and these are the findings. And in this study, I have generated some themes on Mahathir's leadership communication qualities. Some of the findings shows that Mahathir, Indians, Malaysian Hindus perceive Mahathir as a person that has a strong vision. He has a very strategic communication. He is a selfless leader. They see him as a selfless person that don't expect much in terms of reward, but he's more on servicing to people. And Indians, Malaysian Hindus also perceive him as an ethical leader. He able to contribute to community transformation. He able to transform the country. And majority have mentioned that Malaysia saw very significant development under the leadership of Mahathir Mohamad as the fourth Prime Minister. And majority also have mentioned that Mahathir is a very bold person and he's very committed on his work. And he always have bringing a sense of belonging among the people. Like, for example, some Malaysian Hindus has mentioned about he introduced about Bangsa Malaysia concept, whereby all these idea are to bring a sense of belonging to the nation. And as I mentioned to you, I am looking into Mahathir's leadership qualities. I try to connect that in terms of the relevancy of Mahathir's leadership quality to Malaysian, to the Hindu philosophy. Yeah, specifically talking about Hindu philosophy. Yeah, I mapped it, the findings, whatever that I've induced from the data, I map it with the Hindu philosophy, yeah, spiritual needs according to Hindu philosophy. And I also compare and contrast it. I make it look at the relevancy to the spiritual leadership theory here. So the first one, Malaysian Hindus see Mahathir has a selfless leader, and that is consistent with the Hindu philosophy, which is karma yoga. Karma yoga means a selfless service to the people, and compare that the relevancy to spiritual leadership. That is what has been indicated by Fry in his spiritual leadership theory, which is talking about altruism. Yeah, altruism, which is focusing on you are giving love to people without conditional love. Yeah. So the second theme that has emerged in the data is that sense of belonging. This is consistent with the Hindu philosophy, which is karma yoga again. Selfless service, we are being encouraged in Hindu philosophy. We are encouraged to provide services, do our duty without any expectation towards any reward. That means we are providing service selfless, duty orientation. And this is also consistent, can be associated with the spiritual leadership theory, which is calling. Yeah, that means we are, Fry has indicated that members are being, leaders should be encouraging people to be together. The cohesiveness is encouraging in terms of cohesiveness by associating one with the organization or with the community, so that you have the sense of belonging there. All right. The third theme that has emerged from the data is the effective communication. This is the heart of spiritual leadership. If you want to inspire people, definitely you have to communicate. That is the substance of leadership. You can't influence people without communication. And to communicate in Hindu philosophy, it can be associated with jnana yoga, which is knowledge. That means as a leader, you need knowledge to influence people. You have to be strategic and so on. So to do that, you must have knowledge. And people also highlighted about boldness. They indicated that Mahathir is a very bold person, and that is consistent with, again, with the selfless service. That means duty orientation. Whatever happens, he seems to be bold in whatever duty that he's performing. He's not worried about the consequences, as long as he is doing what he's supposed to do. And this is also the core values has been emphasized in the spiritual leadership theory, which emphasize that as a leader, we should not sacrifice our core values. We should emphasize on the core values, which is like ethicalness, boldness, and kind of values. And the next theme that emerged is commitment. Mahathir seems to be very committed to what he's doing, and this can be associated with Hindu philosophy, which is bhakti yoga, means we do it with a lot of love. We are performing our duty with a lot of love, ways to love. That means we show our love towards what we do. This is a part can be associated with spiritual leadership, which is the element of membership. Yeah, membership here is referring to a part of a community, a part of an organization, so that we do something with a lot of love. Yeah. And strong vision also been highlighted by the members. And this is again in Hindu philosophy, this can be associated with Buddhi Yoga. That means you are looking for the future development. You are thinking about future, the development of future. That is also can be associated with the spiritual leadership theory, the element which is emphasizing on vision. So in spiritual leadership theory, it has been clearly stated, indicated that if you want to inspire people, you need to create visions. Yeah. So that vision can be seen in Mahathir's leadership, which is he was perceived to have strong visions like Wawasan Duplo Duplo and kind of thing. And that is consistent with the Hindu philosophy, which is Hindu philosophy has emphasized on looking for future development, right? You have to think for the future development, for the improvement and so on. And Mahathir also seemed to be a community transformer by the Hindus. And this is, can be related with Bhakti Yoga, because if you want to transform the community, you need to have love. You have to do it with a lot of love, then only you can able to see that some improvements, betterment is happening, right? If you are selfish, you can't do that. Yeah. So this is what has been emphasized in spiritual leadership theory. One of the component which is emphasized on the hope. That means you are giving people hope. If you want to improve the community, improve people, inspire people, you must instill some hope in them. All right. And lastly, Mahathir's leadership, one of the characteristics or attributes that perceived by the Hindus is he was perceived as ethical leader. And in ethical leader, this can be associated with sattva samuddhi, which is ethics. All right, when you do something, you do it ethically. That means morally right, morally correct. All right. So this is also a core element emphasized in the spiritual leadership theory, which is ethics. So with that idea, I can conclude that Mahathir was perceived as an ethical leader. He is a spiritual leader, all right, that possesses all the elements emphasized in the spiritual leadership theory, which is consistent with the Malaysian Hindu philosophy or in Hindu philosophy in general. All right. So it is interesting to see that Malaysian Hindu perceive Mahathir as a spiritual leader because his characteristics, his attributes are consistent with the values that they hold, the idea that they have about a leader. So they see Mahathir as a spiritual leader because he showed those attributes that are consistent with the idea that they have about leader. So with that values, with that attributes, he able to inspire, he able to influence the Malaysian Hindu towards social change. All right. So with that idea, it is interesting to know that this study found Mahathir's leadership style may effectively guide Malaysian Hindu towards social change or social reform. All right. And this is also very interesting, very important empirical investigation of leadership communication in a multicultural setting, especially between the majority and minority community. That's very important. Yeah. It offers a very thorough criticism on leadership communication in multicultural setting, which involving two groups of different religions here. All right. And definitely this study, as a conclusion, is contributed to the body of knowledge on spiritual leadership from the viewpoint of Malaysia Hindu. All right. I hope this study helps to give the audience some ideas about spiritual leadership and in the context of multicultural. With that, thank you very much, everyone, for listening.